Living alone in your golden years often feels like a lonely tragedy. Empty homes, distant family, fading friends, and society's grim view of isolation. If you're over 60, that quiet fear of being forgotten, losing independence, or drifting without purpose hits hard. But after decades working with seniors like you, here's the truth. It's a misunderstanding. This isn't survival, it's thriving. In this video, discover 10 profound lessons from solo living later in life. Real insights, strategies, and truths to shift your mindset. You'll turn solitude into strength, joy, and personal peace. Stick around for all 10, especially Redefining 10, the game changer. Sound familiar? Comment yes below to connect and show you're not alone. Let's dive in. Lesson number 1. You stop waiting for someone to save you and start saving yourself. Now, this is a tough pill to swallow for many folks, but it's a moment of clarity that almost everyone living alone eventually faces. It's that quiet, sometimes painful realization that nobody's walking through that door to cook you dinner tonight, or to gently remind you to take your evening pills, or even to nudge you that it's trash day. At first, this realization can hit you like a cold wind right to your bones, a sudden jolt that spikes your stress levels, triggering a rush of cortisol as your mind grapples with the sheer weight of it all. You might sit there, feeling a little overwhelmed, thinking, is this it? Is everything truly on me now? And it's okay to feel that initial panic, that sense of vulnerability. Our social circles naturally tend to shrink a bit as we get older. Friends move, family might be miles away. And our bodies, well, they just aren't as spry as they once were, making daily tasks feel like bigger hurdles. This feeling, this neglect of self, can sometimes lead to skipping important things, like a nutritious breakfast, simply because no one else is there to notice. But after that initial shock fades, something truly incredible begins to happen. You start stepping up. You become your own most reliable safety net. I've seen this transformation with countless patients. It's always a pivotal moment. Take Arthur, for example. When his wife passed, he felt lost. But then, he created his own mini-rescue plan. Every morning, he'd tick off 3 simple things: move, eat, connect. He told me it wasn't just about surviving. It was about proving to himself that he could do it. He started taking pride in those small victories. Fixing a leaky faucet, which used to be a chore, now felt like climbing a mountain. Cooking a decent meal for one became a quiet act of self-respect. Lesson number 2. Silence isn't the enemy. It's the mirror. When you first begin living alone, the silence in your home can feel utterly brutal. It's like the very walls are watching you. Every creak of the floorboards, every hum of the refrigerator seems louder, more intrusive than it has any right to be. It's natural to want to fill that void, isn't it? You might switch on the TV for background noise, turn up the radio, or even just set a fan whirring. Anything to push back against that emptiness. Psychologically, this aversion to silence often stems from a fear of confronting unresolved thoughts, feelings of loss, or simply the sheer weight of being truly alone. As we age, and the constant hum of a busy household or workplace fades, that quiet voice inside, the one often drowned out by life's clamor, suddenly has room to speak. This can initially trigger feelings of panic or intense loneliness, almost as if your house itself is pressing in on you. But I've observed something beautiful unfold after that initial discomfort subsides. The quiet actually starts to speak back to you, not with words, but with a profound sense of space. You begin to hear yourself think again. I remember one evening, just sitting with my cup of tea. No screens, no music, just the gentle tick-tock of the clock. And it hit me. I'd been running from my own thoughts for years. The noise of life had always muted that inner voice. But now, it finally had room to surface, sharing insights I truly needed to hear, like, "You're not as broken as you thought," or "It's okay to miss people who aren't coming back." I think of Eleanor, a wonderful woman who lost her husband and initially filled every room with sound just to avoid remembering. But then, she started treating silence not as a threat, but as a conversation. She'd make her tea, settle into her favorite armchair, and just listen to the birds outside, the rain on the window pane, the quiet hum of life itself. She found that it became her daily meeting with peace. That's what silence eventually becomes: a mirror. Lesson number 3. Routine becomes your lifeline. Let me tell you, when you live alone, especially in your later years, time has a funny way of melting. Mornings can blend into afternoons, days into weeks, and before you know it, you might struggle to remember what day it is or when you last stepped out the door. Our brains, you see, thrive on structure. Without a consistent rhythm, a lack of routine can lead to feelings of aimlessness, a real dip in motivation, and can even throw off your natural sleep cycle, leaving you feeling perpetually off-kilter. This is particularly true as we age, when the fixed structures of work or busy family life fade away, leaving a void. You might experience this as a vague, floating sensation, a life that feels blurry and disconnected from the world. But here's the powerful truth I've observed with countless patients. A simple routine can give your days a heartbeat, a solid anchor. I wake around the same time every day, even on weekends, not because I'm a drill sergeant, but because it sets a rhythm. I open the curtains, say good morning to the world and to my sometimes stubborn knees, and get the coffee brewing. That tiny, consistent act sets the tone for everything that follows. I remember Frank, a gentleman who created what he called his lonely man's schedule. Every single day at 10 a.m., rain or shine, he'd take a walk around the block. He said the walk wasn't really about exercise. It was about giving himself a concrete reason to get dressed, to move, to genuinely exist in the world outside his four walls. Without that structure, life alone can indeed feel aimless, blurry, and disconnected. But when you create a simple framework, you give your mind and body something solid to hold on to. For me, just writing things down made all the difference. I even started using a simple digital daily planner, designed specifically for seniors, and it brought back a beautiful rhythm to my days. It's easy to use, keeps me on track, and reminds me of the little things that make me feel truly alive, not just busy. Your routine doesn't have to be anything fancy, mind you. Heck, sometimes mine is just making sure I shave on Mondays, clean the kitchen on Tuesdays, and water my plants on Thursdays. But these little agreements with myself keep me grounded. They're my quiet promise to life that I'm still showing up. There's a wonderful comfort in predictability, a gentle expectation for the small joys, your morning coffee, your afternoon walk, your favorite evening show. These rituals become essential anchors, keeping your spirit from drifting too far. And yes, sometimes, just for fun, I break the routine. Breakfast for dinner? Absolutely. Stay up late watching an old Western? Why not? A lazy day with zero guilt? You bet. Because when you live alone, balance truly matters. You build your routine, but you also learn the invaluable lesson of permitting yourself to simply be. What's one small routine you swear by? Share it in the comments. Let's inspire each other to stay grounded. Comment "rhythm" if this resonates with you. Lesson number 4. You realize how little you actually need. Here's the funny thing about living alone. And it's a profound one. You start to really notice how much stuff you've been carrying around your entire life that never truly mattered. For so long I, like many of my patients, kept everything. Every little souvenir, every tool I might need one day, every tangled just-in-case cable I couldn't even identify but felt too guilty to toss. This habit of holding on to things often stems from a deep-seated need for security, a desire to preserve memories, or simply a fear of scarcity. But all that clutter, that constant visual noise, can silently contribute to chronic stress and drag down your spirit. As we get older, and perhaps our roles shift, no longer needing to stock up for a big family or entertain guests as often, the purpose of so many items just vanishes. The loss of loved ones can also make discarding their possessions incredibly difficult, adding to the mental weight. You start to feel overwhelmed by your belongings, your living space feels tight, and there's this invisible tension in the air. So, as the years went by, I started asking myself a powerful question. Why am I keeping all this? Who am I saving it for? That question hit me hard. One weekend, I decided to declutter. Not in a trendy, minimalist way, but more like a practical audit. Let's see how many coffee mugs one man really needs. Turns out, the answer was 2. One for me, and one for when I forget to wash the first one. And the more I let go of, the lighter I felt. There's an incredible freedom that comes from looking around your space and realizing that everything you see either serves a genuine purpose or holds a memory that still genuinely makes you smile. Everything else? Gone. I remember a retired teacher, a patient of mine, who sold half her belongings after moving into a smaller place. She described the feeling as losing 40 pounds of invisible stress. She said her home finally felt like it could breathe again. I knew exactly what she meant. You stop trying to fill space with things and start filling it with peace. You come to understand that you don't need a sprawling house to feel secure. You need a space that simply feels like you. You don't need fancy, expensive dinners. A simple home-cooked meal with a little soft music in the background does the trick just fine. I've actually been working my way through a list of 50 easy, senior-friendly soup recipes, and let me tell you, nothing feels more comforting than a pot simmering gently on the stove when the world outside goes quiet. In a world that constantly screams, more, 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 living alone teaches you the quiet, profound power of enough. And I can tell you, enough feels pretty darn good. What's one thing you've decluttered that made a huge difference? Share your enough moment below. Comment lighter if you're ready to let go. Lesson number 5. Technology becomes your new sidekick. Now, I'll admit, I was one of those old-timers who used to grumble about all these newfangled gadgets. I'd shake my head and say things like, "Back in my day, we didn't need an app to boil water." It's a common reaction among seniors. This skepticism or even outright resistance to new technology, often viewing it as too complicated, intimidating, or even a bit of an enemy. But modern technology offers remarkable benefits for us as we age. It can dramatically improve access to information, help us stay socially connected, and provide crucial health support, like medication reminders or blood pressure tracking. It can even enhance safety around the house with things like motion-sensing lights. Our eyesight might not be what it once was. Hearing can fade, and getting around isn't always as easy. Technology, believe it or not, can step in to fill some of these gaps. Then, one day, my niece, bless her heart, gave me a smart speaker. I rolled my eyes, I really did, until I realized I could just say, "Alexa, play Willie Nelson." And suddenly, my living room was filled with music, like an old friend had walked right through the door. From that moment on, I was hooked. Technology stopped being the enemy. It became my trusty sidekick. It's a silent helper that makes the small, quiet parts of living alone feel a little easier, a little safer. I've got reminders for my meds. My grocery lists are right there on my phone. And I even have a motion-sensing light that turns on when I shuffle to the kitchen at 3 p.m., which, for the record, is 50% for safety and 50% for those irresistible midnight snacks. I recently heard about a gentleman who swore his tablet saved his sanity. He watches travel vlogs, plays chess with strangers across the world, and video calls his old army buddies once a week. He put it simply, "It's not the same as being together, but it's something. And sometimes, something is enough." I've even found that voice assistants can be surprisingly comforting. Now, I thank it. It keeps me connected, informed, and occasionally entertained when I fall a YouTube rabbit hole watching people fix old tractors. Don't judge, it's remarkably relaxing. What tech gadget has made your life easier? Share your tip below. Comment, "Innovate," if you're open to trying something new. Lesson number 6. You learn to redefine connection. This one, my friends, this is a big one. When you're older and living alone, you eventually have to face a hard truth. Your definition of connection has to evolve, or you'll simply drown in the outdated one. We humans have a fundamental need for connection. Without it, studies show we're at higher risk for depression, heart disease, and cognitive decline. The traditional idea of connection, people in the same room, loud laughter, shared meals, firm handshakes, those are precious. But when those aren't readily available, when friends pass on, when family moves states away, or when getting around becomes too much of a hassle, clinging to that old definition can lead to deep feelings of loss and profound loneliness. You can't spend your days mourning what used to be. You've got to learn how to build something new with what's left. For me, that started with remarkably small things. A simple wave to my neighbor when I took out the trash, a quick, friendly chat with my pharmacist, a kind word exchanged with the grocery clerk. Those tiny moments of recognition tenderly reminded me that I'm still a part of the world. Then, I found connections in places I never expected. I started commenting on YouTube videos about gardening, sharing a few jokes, offering a bit of advice to younger folks who reminded me of my own younger self. And you know what? People respond. They remember your name. They ask for updates on your tomato plants. It's not friendship in the traditional sense, no, but it's real. I know a wonderful woman named Carol who told me she doesn't have any local friends, but she's part of 3 thriving online communities. One for cooking, one for crossword puzzle enthusiasts, and one specifically for folks who live alone. She said those online strangers have become her coffee table companions. They share recipes, remember birthdays, and celebrate little life victories together. It's not flashy, but it's genuine human warmth, sometimes right there through a screen. Connection doesn't always have to come in big hugs or lengthy visits. Sometimes it comes in shared words, a kind comment, or even the comforting presence of something living, like feeding the birds on your porch or tending to a beloved pet. You start to realize connection is about energy, about feeling seen and heard, not just about physical proximity. It's about being open enough to give and receive, even when no one's physically in the room. Lesson number 7. You discover the healing power of nature. When I first started living alone, I truly believed I needed people around me to feel truly alive. Turns out, I just needed to step outside. There's something so profoundly grounding about nature, something that gently reminds you that you're still a vital part of life's grand rhythm, even when the human world feels like it's passed you by. Scientific studies consistently show that spending time in nature, what some call forest bathing, can significantly reduce stress, boost your mood, lower blood pressure, and even strengthen your immune system. As we age, and perhaps social engagements become fewer, or mobility becomes a challenge, our opportunities to interact with the bustling outside world can diminish. This can leave us feeling fatigued, listless, or simply out of sync, losing that vital spark. But step outside your door, and you see a mighty oak that's been standing in the same spot for 50 years, and it doesn't seem to be in any particular hurry. It bends, it sways, it weathers the storms, but it never quits. There's a powerful lesson in that, isn't there? I started small, just sitting on my porch in the mornings with my coffee, listening to the birds gossip in the trees. After a while, I found myself actually looking forward to it. That quiet moment became my essential reset button. No screens, no human noise, just me and the wide open sky. I remember meeting a lovely lady, I think her name was Betty, who told me she started gardening after her husband passed away. At first, she did it just to keep busy, to fill the time. But soon, she found herself talking to her plants. She chuckled, saying they never talked back, but somehow, they listened better than most people ever had. She explained that tending to them helped her remember she could still nurture something, that life could still respond to her care. And that's the beautiful thing about nature. It gives back what you give it. You water your plants, and they bloom. You make the effort to watch a sunset, and it shows up for you in spectacular fashion. Even something as simple as walking barefoot in the grass, feeling the cool earth beneath your feet, or just watching the rain slide down a window pane can calm your mind in ways no medication ever could. Some people find their peace in churches. These days, I often find mine right in my own backyard. It's quiet. It smells like fresh earth. And I always feel better afterward. What's your favorite way to connect with nature? Share your peaceful spots. Comment nature if you feel this healing power. Lesson number 8. You stop pretending and start living honestly. When you live alone, something truly liberating happens. The performance ends. You stop playing roles. There's no one to impress, no one to please, no one to judge. It's just you. And let me tell you, that kind of honesty, that raw authenticity, is utterly freeing. For so much of our lives, we're subtly, or not so subtly, performing for others. We curate our image, we choose our words carefully, and we try to fit expectations. This constant effort to be someone for someone else can lead to chronic stress, erode our self-esteem, and diminish our overall satisfaction with life. As the old roles we played, parent, spouse, co-worker, gradually recede, there's this incredible opportunity to rediscover who we truly are beneath all those layers. You might find yourself feeling a profound exhaustion from perpetually acting, or an underlying discomfort even in your own home. But when you shed those expectations, you stop pretending you like things you don't. You might eat dinner in your pajamas at 4 p.m. because, well, who's going to stop you? You play your old records too loud, sing along terribly, and you find yourself talking to yourself out loud without even trying to hide it anymore. There's something genuinely funny about realizing you no longer have to keep up appearances. I remember one evening, I cooked a rather fancy meal. Steak, mashed potatoes, the works. Then, halfway through eating, I paused, and a thought popped into my head. Why am I using the good china for me? And then I laughed. I really did. Exactly, I thought, for me. Lesson number 9. You find strength you didn't know you had. This one, my friends, truly sneaks up on you. You don't realize how incredibly strong you've become until something goes wrong, and you handle it. Often, we carry this underlying belief that we re-fragile or that we constantly need others to bail us out. This fear of vulnerability, especially as we age and perhaps feel less capable, can be very real, particularly when there isn't immediate support nearby. When faced with a sudden challenge, that initial panic, that feeling of helplessness, can be overwhelming. I read about a man named George who summed it up perfectly. He said, "Living alone taught me I'm not as helpless as I thought. I'm just out of practice." I absolutely love that, because it's so true. Strength doesn't always come from having people around. It comes from realizing you can still figure things out, even when it's just you. And the best part? That strength doesn't make you hard or unfeeling. It makes you quietly, profoundly sure. You stop doubting yourself over every little thing. You start saying, "I've been through worse. I'll be fine." And most days, you really are. What's a moment you surprised yourself with your own strength? Share your story. Comment "strong" if you know what I mean. Lesson number 10. You learn that peace is something you build, not something you find. This lesson took me longest to grasp. When I first lived alone, I waited for peace like a guest at the door, rearranging life, chasing hobbies, staying busy. But true peace, that deep contentment, doesn't arrive uninvited. It's built intentionally, through self-awareness, self-care, emotion management, and a harmonious home. After life's joys and losses, many seniors crave this stability. You craft it daily, in tiny choices, forgiving old regrets that haunt you, tidying your space. Outer chaos breeds inner turmoil. Setting boundaries, like silencing draining news or dismissing painful thoughts. Peace isn't mystical. It's a soft, steady hum from consistent kindness to yourself. It's waking unrushed, savoring a solo meal bite by bite, whispering, "I'm okay," and believing it, alone or not. A woman once said, "Peace didn't come to me. I earned it by showing up for myself every day." That's it exactly. You don't just stumble into peace. You build it, one quiet, intentional act at a time. And sure, some days are rough. The silence feels too loud. The house feels too empty. And your mind might play tricks on you. But then there are days, beautiful, calm days, when the light hits your window just right. Your coffee tastes absolutely perfect. And you realize something profound. You made it. You built this life. You built this peace. And that, my friend, is something no one, absolutely no one, can ever take from you. What's one small, intentional act you do for your peace? Let's share our wisdom below. Comment "peace" if you're building yours. As we wrap up, we've uncovered 10 life-changing lessons for thriving in your golden years. But true power comes from action. So here's my question. What is one small commitment you are making today? Maybe drink water first thing tomorrow, or call an old friend. Share it in the comments to inspire us all. If this resonated, hit like to show your support. Subscribe to join our community of wise souls chasing joyful days. And share this with one person who needs it. You could brighten their world. Thanks for watching. Stay healthy, stay wise. See you next time.